A boy discovered a magical door in the forest. He curiously crawled through it. It turned out to be a place like a fairyland on Earth. Glowing spirits were flying everywhere in the sky. A tree spirit who hadn't bathed in hundreds of years seemed to catch the scent of a human. She lay down on the ground and took a sip of immortal spring water. Then she pulled a treasure from her pocket and showed it off to her husband. It was a bubble machine she had picked up in the city. The boy, intrigued by its peculiar shape, wanted to take a photo, but the tree spirit nervously glanced toward the wooden house. Then, an old witch who had lived for thousands of years walked out. It turned out she was the true master of this fairyland, and these two tree spirits were its guardians. At this point, the boy still didn't realize the seriousness of the situation, drooling at the sight of the bright red, tempting fruits. The next second, the old witch's magic bound his feet. She then shook the toy out of the tree spirit's pocket onto the ground. It turned out this tree spirit, playful by nature, had secretly snuck into the mortal world. That is why the boy was drawn here. The old witch turned the boy into a piglet in a fit of rage, but the tree spirit couldn't bear to see the boy turned into a pig, so she secretly used a magic herb to turn him back to his original form. Unfortunately, her magic power was insufficient. She couldn't remove his pig nose. When he saw his reflection, he cried out in fright, wailing loudly. The tree spirit hurriedly pulled out a wild vegetable and gave it to him as a snack. But the boy wanted to taste the fresh fruit on the tree. Unfortunately, his feet were already bound with ropes. The tree spirit told him that the power of the fresh fruit was too strong. A child definitely couldn't handle eating it. The boy could only stare at the tempting berries and swallow his saliva. At night, the tree spirit held him in her arms as they slept. When he woke up the next day, the boy was already gone. It turned out that while the tree spirit was sleeping, he had quietly escaped back to the mortal world. His friends were not surprised by his pig nose. They thought it was just a prop. Then the boy went to the hospital to visit his grandmother, who was sick in bed. When he saw how much pain his grandmother was in, he felt especially upset. At that moment, he suddenly remembered the fairy fruit in the Wonderland. So he ran back to find the old witch. But by then, the old witch had already gone out. The boy begged the tree spirit to pick a branch of fresh fruit to cure his grandmother. However, the tree spirit did not dare to make a decision on her own. If the old witch found out, she would definitely get a beating.